He stood at the foot of our bed, his face pale under the flicker of the phone screen. The silence was wrong, too sharp, too loud. My name left his mouth in a whisper, trembling, almost reverent, as if he was calling a ghost. Maya. What is this? His hand shook as he held up my old phone, the one I'd claimed was broken, buried in the back of a drawer for years. On the screen, frozen mid-motion, was a version of me I barely recognized, laughing, wild, flushed, tangled in sheets with someone who wasn't my husband. I could hear the faint echo of the video's audio, the sound of my own laughter. My knees almost gave out. For a moment I couldn't speak. My body turned cold, but my mind burned. The room seemed smaller, suffocating. The scent of his cologne, the one I once adored, now made my stomach twist. Answer me, he snapped, voice cracking under the weight of disbelief. I opened my mouth, but no words came. Just breath. Ragged, shallow breath. There were 30 videos. I knew exactly how many, because I'd recorded them myself. The first time I met Ethan, he was patient, soft-spoken, and endlessly kind. The type of man who'd spend hours fixing a broken chair but never notice when I was breaking inside. When we married, I thought stability was love. I mistook silence for peace. But somewhere between the bills, the quiet dinners, and the tired kisses goodnight, I started to fade. Then came Jordan, my ex. He was the opposite of Ethan. Dangerous. Reckless. The kind of man who looked at me like I was the only thing alive in a world of noise. I should have deleted the videos long ago. But I didn't. Maybe because they reminded me of the person I used to be before I became someone's wife, someone's routine. But I never imagined Ethan would find them. I can explain, I whispered, though the lie curdled in my throat. His eyes glistened, not with anger, but with something far worse, hurt. Pure, raw, devastating hurt. Explain what? That you did with him what you refused to do with me? That while I was trying to make you happy, you kept this archive of betrayal. He threw the phone onto the bed. The sound cracked the air. I told you I wasn't ready for certain things, I said, my voice trembling. I told you it wasn't about you. Not about me. He laughed, the sound hollow. Then why did you record it, Maya? Why keep it? Why hide it? I didn't have an answer that could make sense. Because there was no logic to it. Only emotion, messy, selfish, human emotion. I hadn't watched those videos in years, but they existed like scars I couldn't erase. Proof that once I'd felt something wild and real. He paced across the room, running a hand through his hair, muttering things under his breath. I could almost see the memories unraveling in his mind. Every touch, every moment, every hesitation now stained by what he'd seen. I sank onto the bed. Ethan, I didn't cheat on you. Those were before us. But you lied, he said quietly. You lied by omission. Every time I asked if there was something you weren't telling me, you said no. You kept those videos knowing exactly what they were. I kept them because... My voice faltered. I stared down at my hands, the same hands that had once held a camera steady as I filmed fragments of another life. Because I wanted to remember who I was before I became this. Before I forgot what passion felt like. He turned toward me, eyes sharp with disbelief. And I never gave you passion? I met his gaze. You gave me safety. But sometimes safety feels like a cage. The silence that followed was unbearable. The only sound was the faint hum of the ceiling fan and the weight of everything we'd never set pressing down between us. Later, he sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. I could tell he was trying to process it, to find a reason not to hate me. But how do you reason with betrayal? 30 videos, he murmured. That's not just nostalgia, Maya. That's obsession. He wasn't wrong. In those videos, I wasn't afraid of being wanted. I wasn't measured or careful. I was chaos. And Ethan had never loved chaos. He'd wanted order, stability, a wife who didn't question, who didn't ache for something more. I reached for him, but he pulled away. His voice cracked. You could have deleted them. You could have chosen us. I didn't think they mattered anymore, I whispered. They mattered enough to hide. The next morning he was gone. His clothes, his toothbrush, the picture frame from our wedding night, all missing. Only the phone remained, lying where he'd left it. The screen was cracked, but it still lit up when I touched it. One video started playing automatically. My voice filled the room again, laughing, breathless, alive. I stared at the image of myself on the screen. Someone who had once believed she could be both loved and free. Tears blurred my vision. Maybe Ethan was right. Maybe I'd kept those videos because some part of me knew I'd never feel that kind of fire again. But as I watched, I realized something else. The woman in that video wasn't free. She was desperate to be seen, to be wanted, to be remembered. And I'd built an entire marriage on the illusion that burying her made me whole. 3 weeks later, Ethan called. His voice was cold but steady. "I've thought about what you said," he began. "About safety being a cage. Maybe I was part of that cage. But you broke something in me, Maya. Something I can't fix." "I know," I whispered. "I never wanted to hurt you." "You did anyway." He hung up. I sat there, the silence stretching like a wound. Then, for the first time, I deleted the videos. One by one. My hands trembled, but I didn't stop until the phone was empty, silent, clean. When the last one was gone, I felt lighter and lonelier than I ever had before. I whispered into the still air. "You never deserved that version of me, Ethan. And maybe I didn't deserve you either." The words didn't heal anything. But they were true. And for once, the truth was enough.